Hey there, thanks for tuning in to another Collecticon video. This is a new thing for us, and we really appreciate the support. So today I decided to recruit an old friend, Christian from TFYLP. Maybe you've heard of him. Good friend of mine, and he likes to go through Transformers lists even more than I do, so I asked him to join me to do a quick one-on-one recap of the recent leak list for 2026 in Transformers. This list is from the good old JTPrime on TFW. Dude from Illinois. He's just right down the road, but still, I can't get him to come to my shop one of these days. Maybe making this video will make him come out of the shadows, and I can give this guy a well-awarded handshake for all the good work he's done for the Transformers fans out there. Anyways, want to get right into the video. Thanks again. Give us a like, subscribe if you can, and we'll see if we can keep doing these for you. Appreciate it. All right, this is Paul from Collecticon here again, and I have a special guest, pulled a friend from an old crew, Christian from TFYLP. How you doing?
What up?
Well, we're here to talk about a little bit of information that came out just the other day. Our good old friend JTPrime gave a big honking list of leaks for 2026. We all knew it was coming, but here it is. So we're going to go through this as quickly as possible, but give all the pertinent information that should be here for each of these products, and you can decide if this is something you'll need in 2026. Also, be aware that this is all subject to change. Almost every year, something on the initial list gets pulled. So do not treat this as gospel. Anything you'd like to say, Christian, before we get started?
Well, that one that got pulled is now back on the list for the second, third, fourth, 18th time. So we'll talk about that when we get to them.
Well, let's just start there. Which one are we talking about?
That's Sureshot, friend.
So we assume that's a G1 Sureshot.
Yep.
And this is something that has been expected for a few years now, but keeps getting pulled to the next year.
Yep, but he is back. I'd last heard that he was going to be in a Target 4-pack this year, so that seems to have changed too. So maybe he'll finally come out in 26.
Or maybe they'll have two different versions of Sureshot. We don't know. But he's likely to come with a Target Master.
Yep, just like Point Blank did.
So really looking forward to that. That's a late addition to the modernized G1 cast. What's on the list beyond that?
We've got Deluxe Quintus Prime.
Cool. So another one of those primes that I'm not super stoked on, but the fandom seems to be. Who exactly is Quintus, and what's his shtick in the primes lore?
Quintus is kind of a biological adjacent prime. He's the origin of the Quintessons. He's lately gotten a lot of spotlight in the Earthspark TV show.
Does he have 5 heads?
I don't think so.
Well, that seems like a mistake. Okay, what else do we got?
We have Blast Off, also a deluxe.
Cool. I mean, this is kind of expected, right?
Sure.
I mean, let's hope he's a space shuttle this time, I'd say, instead of a fighter jet.
I agree. I think he probably will be. I think they're done with that kind of reinterpretation they were doing 10 years ago.
Yeah, I think this kind of obviously brings forth the worst kept secret in Transformers right now that, we're getting a Bruticus as the next big combiner.
Oh, for sure. Next, we have Quickstrike.
And that is a Beast Wars figure, right?
That is the presumption. There is another minor Quickstrike. Actually, there's 2 more minor Quickstrikes, but this one presumably will be our favorite cowboy Fusor guy.
So this is the first real Fusor, right? Or the Silverbolt count?
Silverbolt counts.
Okay. So this is at least a look at some overlooked Beast Wars figures that are coming in.
Yep.
Not really my cup of tea, but it, scratches an itch for some people, I'd say.
Well, I am excited. A scorpion with a cobra for a tail. Just an awesome design. I hope it looks good. Next, we have Smokescreen. And this could be literally anybody.
Yeah.
There's so many Smokescreens.
So is this like the most boring reveal yet? Or is this maybe going to be a surprise and it's Prime Smokescreen?
I wish it was Prime Smokescreen, but we have a listing later that lists a Prime somebody in the character name. I'm thinking this is a repack of the Earthrise Smokescreen, but who knows? Not me.
Well, it'd definitely be way cooler if it was a Prime one, but it does not look like it's going to be. But, I don't want to eat my hat.
Hottest take, it's Armada Smokescreen.
Whoa. Get out of here. No way.
Probably not. Maybe.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, honestly, I'd prefer something cool than just another G1 car.
Yeah. Next is a long-awaited mini bot. We got Powerglide coming in.
Oh boy! So it's nice to see that. I think we just talked about this on the TFYLP show a few
We
days
did.
ago. So I guess we know the answer here. They're keeping him like true to the mini bot, and that's awesome.
Yeah, he'll be a deluxe like the other mini bots. I think that's where he needs to be, even though technically his alt mode should be like really big.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know what would be super cool is if he came with the girl. Like a little figurine of the girl. I mean, come on. It's been so long. If Beachcomber got the party parrot, can we please get, yellow dress rich girl? I'm sorry I don't know her name.
It's Astoria Carlton Ritz. That is her name.
Yeah. She's the best.
I do think he'll have the heart Easter egg again. Do you remember that the Universe 2 toy had that?
Oh yeah, of course. That was Aaron Archer special.
Yeah. So I'm willing to bet that this has something to do with that again.
Well, yeah, that's one of the kitschiest parts of animated G1 is the girl who loves Powerglide. It's really fun to lay into.
I don't think he really loves her back, though.
I'm not sure how that relationship really really worked, and I don't want to be a love doctor.
Not for us to say.
It's not for us. But really looking forward to that. I hope it is a little bit chunky, and I hope it's, very cartoony. That would be great.
I agree. It would fit in really well with everybody else. Another mini bot coming with Powerglide is Swerve.
Oh, man. And you were just talking about this, too. So, all right. So Swerve is clearly going to be from our legacy gears.
Yep, he should be. I hope so.
So, do you think there'll be any IDW, like, accoutrements with this guy?
I think no, but I also think they might put him in a different pack for, like, Amazon or something down the line with some of that IDW influence.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool if he, like, got thrown in as a Wreckgar or something with his My First Blaster.
Something. Like, it'll be Swerve, and we'll finally get a Drift, and it'll be, like, Nautica, or, something. They'll do an IDW line. It'll have all those guys in it. But this one, I think, will be pretty squarely G1.
Yeah, that would be a great idea to just, bring out these characters that really have their identity cemented in IDW as a special release. That'd be awesome.
I agree. I hope we see that. The next one is kind of cool. It's Animated Ratchet. Animated Ratchet, old guy, magnet hands.
Yeah, magnet hands Ratchet. Yeah, this is great. I mean, I really like the animated redos in the recent toys, so I'm all about this. Do as many as you can.
Yeah, they're cruising their way through them too, because we have Prowl and Prime and B, now Ratchet. I think Bulkhead would be next. I think you and I were just talking recently that the Bulkhead that did come out is kind of more primey than animated-y.
Yeah, I don't think he really fits the bill for animated, because animated Bulkhead has such a unique, silhouette. He's got to be big, got to be round.
I agree. I think a leader class animated Bulkhead would not be out of place for this line.
Unfortunately, that is not on the list, though. So
not this time. But you know who else is?
Well, before we go there, seeing this makes me think, oh man, maybe they'll do RC.
I could see that.
Just because she kind of goes with Ratchet and the story. So, whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe they're queuing up for a HasLab Omega Supreme.
I hope not.
Yeah, I think it would be mistimed, but I'd still like to see it.
Yeah, I mean, make all the toys. I don't care. Like, do it. Just, I don't want things to sell really, really bad, because that's a primary way I interact with the fandom these days.
Fair enough. Our final deluxe for Age of the Primes is Prime Cliffjumper.
Okay, so this one's kind of weird, right?
I think probably yes. Probably weird.
Well, because they already released this, as far as...
He came out last year.
Yeah, he was in the 4-pack, and that was the big selling point.
And so they're now going to sell him separately?
Well, it just seems really strange to me. It seems like a bad business move to just take the biggest draw out of that 4-pack, debatably, and put it in a single pack. It's just kind of unorthodox. So there's got to be something special going on here, or something different, wouldn't you say?
Maybe he's the Terracon version?
I mean, that's the first place I go. That's where I would think. But then don't you think they'd call him Zombie Cliffjumper or something? I mean, really, he seems like the one that should be in the 4-pack, the zombie one.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know. We'll just wait and see.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Very cool. Thank you, Christian. I'll take over the Voyagers for now. and you can get the first shot at these. So the first Voyager for 2026 is Amalgamous Prime.
Yeah, he's another Prime dude.
Who is this guy?
I don't know. He's one I know very little about. I think he's one that doesn't have a defined shape. That was his shtick when they released the Covenant of Primus. So they're going to make him a toy that definitely has a defined shape. What will it look like? I'm not really sure.
Maybe, well, he's a Voyager, right? So
yeah.
Maybe he'll be the first, like, not build a figure, but the first modulator Voyager. Like, he comes apart and can be swap-swapped or something. I don't know.
That would make sense for this character.
Yeah. For that to work, there'd have to be other characters to do that with, which it doesn't seem like there are. So that one's a real big question mark for me, like most of the Primes. So, we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. I've enjoyed the designs they've made so far, so hopefully they continue that trend.
So here's another kind of curveball. A Voyager Brawl. Being a deluxe, we already know Vortex is going to be a deluxe. What is going on here with a Voyager Brawl?
My first thought about Brawl being this size as opposed to a deluxe is that he comes with some combiner bits.
Yeah, I guess my thought is they're either testing out or they already did. They tested out how the different size classes across a combiner works. Like the Scrapper is a Voyager for the Constructicon. He's probably a deluxe size figure, but maybe has some additional part count or additional accessories, just like you said.
The additional part count makes sense. If they want to make Brawl be a leg, perhaps he needs a little bit more stability, some more parts to make that happen. That's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's true, because historically, Vortex and Blastoff are the arms in most of the artwork. I mean, it's scrambly, but they might be like setting what the actual placement is here.
Right, and the skeleton combiners that we have now don't really scramble. They can scramble left to right, but not up to down.
Yeah. So I guess what this sort of means to me is that Swindle will be a Voyager, but he's not on this list. So what?
Not yet.
Kind of strange. Maybe they're going to let this Bruticus trail over for 2 years. We'll see. All right, the next one is another animated toy. This is kind of a surprise. Voyager animated Wreckgar, which is a fan favorite from Animated. What do you think we're going to see here?
The popular speculation about 2 years ago was that Trash Master was going to get redecoed as Wreckgar somehow, and I think we still might see that. We also might see a totally new mold. I have no idea. Maybe it's something from the Mixmaster Constructicon that's coming out later this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot about this yet. I'm coming into this pretty raw, but that's my first thought, is probably taking Trash Master and redoing him.
I'm excited about it, though. Wreckgar's cool.
Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It needs to have those big pylons, though.
The lifter arms, yeah. The only thing I have about this, they typically don't make same color remolds. So like Wreckgar's kind of orange, Trash Master's very orange. So like, does that make sense? I don't know. We'll see.
If that's the case, it does seem almost the same product. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then again, all the Junkions kind of suffer from that.
That's true.
Because they have that uniform, color scheme. So it's not impossible. No. We'll just have to see. The best part about this news is that it means Weird Al has a reason to hang out with us all again.
Well, he has been Cosmos in Earthspark lately, so he does like us.
Well, yeah, he's sticking around. Okay, and our next Voyager is something that I thought was coming out this year as a deluxe, but I was surprised because it was Cybertron Sideways, also known as Noise Maze. But this one is a Voyager Armada Sideways.
I'm so excited.
As a Voyager, I got to imagine it has all the things we're going to want on this, right?
Right. I think it's a Voyager because it'll be, approximately deluxe size for the bike, and then it have the 2 head minicons that do the swapping gimmick.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be able to be big enough to ride him, essentially. I don't know. They haven't been very faithful to all the Armada gimmicks, so I wouldn't want to, speculate too hard. But this will be cool.
Yeah, I think this is one that they have to get right. So the heads will combine and be the rider, and they'll be separate robots, and then they'll be heads, and it'll be great.
All right, and our last Voyager for Age of the Primes in 2026 is Voyager Nexus Prime. What do you have to say about this?
I am disappointed at first blush, but willing to wait and see. I think you and I have talked about lots of times that Nexus Prime is the first combiner. Therefore, he should be, a combiner.
You had a lot of theories on what this would be, and clearly all wrong.
Yeah. The worst scenario, I think, would be they're like, oh, you can combine it with, Brawl and Vortex, and that's Nexus Prime, and this is just like a central ingredient. I don't know.
It's possible. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. These primes have like zero precedent.
Yeah.
In toy form, so it's hard to predict like what we're actually going to see here.
Well, I was not foolish enough to think that they would just do the fun pub version of Nexus Prime again. I just didn't think so. But I thought there would be something interesting, and so far I'm disappointed. But it's literally just words on a page. We have no images. We have no descriptions. So I'm going to be optimistic, but I'm a little disappointed at first.
There should be some sort of combining feature with this, though.
Something has to combine.
If there's not, somebody messed up.
Right. What's even the point?
Yeah. What are you doing? All right. You want to take us into the leaders?
Yeah, sure. So I've got leaders. There's two of them. The first one is leader Big Convoy.
The big one.
The big one.
Okay, Big Convoy. I know you thought this was going to be the made-to-order toy. Clearly, it's not.
I'm sort of glad. I think MTOs make a lot more sense for repaints than new molds like this has to be.
Well, yeah. Maybe we still will, and maybe it'll be the Nemesis version, or the black one, or...
Ultra Mammoth.
Yeah, or the weird Lucky Draw one they released a few years ago. There's so many Big Convoys at this point.
I would take all of them, especially at this price point.
I mean, at least it's a leader. I've had a hate kind of sided relationship with Big Convoy just because it's got so many weird parts and the shell forming stuff. But it definitely looks great as like a statue piece,
Yeah.
I think notably this was the first Prime with the Matrix sort of like built in.
That's right.
Now it's old hat.
Right.
But originally it had the big two-fisted Matrix that could go in his hands. To me, that was the coolest part of this toy. So,
well, the two Beast leaders they've done so far are really good to me. I like them both. So I am optimistic that this will be okay.
Yeah, and this way they get like another Optimus Prime in the size class somehow. So
exactly. And he's a mammoth.
Everyone's happy.
Everyone liked that.
Yeah, he's a mammoth. So the next one we have here is Universe Razor Claw as a leader.
You got to put like a giant woo excitement graphic in here for me because I am overjoyed that this is happening.
So this is going to be a redeco of Tigerhawk, right?
Yep.
Describe it for the unknowns.
The wiki described it at one point as a walking blacklight painting from Lisa Frank. It's basically a black and purple repaint of Tigerhawk, and he wants you to know that he is Razor Claw. He says it constantly in the 3H Wreckers books, in the Universe books. He's like, know that I am Razor Claw. It's like, okay, man, yeah, you're Razor Claw. But you know what? He's awesome.
So that's a good call out that this is really this has relations to pre-Fun Pub era, like Collector Club stuff.
That's right. Yeah. They took that universe line that was contemporary to them and spun it into a multiverse spanning war against Unicron.
Yeah, this wasn't a Collector Club exclusive. It was available, at mainline retail, but it had zero characterization, and they kind of took it and ran with it.
Yep.
So we do have a commander. This is no big surprise. Onslaught, it'll take the same place as like Motormaster and Silverbolt for the last two lines. Like, this is great, but it's like, it's so predictable, at this point.
It's like, yeah, of course we need to get the combiners done, and that's where the central components are going to be. So, like, yay. But also, yeah, it's a little boring.
I think, like we said, predictable is correct.
Commander Magmatron was just like, whoa, what the heck is this? Where did this come from? That's very exciting. Commander Onslaught's like, okay, yeah, we've seen Combaticons coming. Vortex is out later this year. We know what's happening.
Yeah, the issue here is that, like, for the next 4 years, you can kind of guess what the commanders will be.
That's right.
Unless they deviate from this or increase the number of commanders, which is also possible because, Studio Series didn't used to have commanders, and now it does. So they could if this is a successful price point, why not make more?
Good point.
So then we could have we could burn through the combiners faster, or we could kind of have a combiner commander and a more unique, standalone, which would be great. But, the brand might not be in a position to do that. It doesn't look like they're clearly not doing it. So they must not be in a position for it.
Check in with a year from now, Christian and Paul, to figure out if the 2027 commander is hotspot.
Probably, but we'll see. So we have one listing for a Generation Selects. That entire line seems to have been gobbled up by the store exclusive capsules, which I'm not saying is bad, but this one's pretty good. This is another G2 Dinobot 2-pack and should round out all the Dinobots, the leader Dinobots, as G2 versions in almost every iteration they have had. And this is going to be Swoop and Sludge, which never came out in the G2 line originally, but have some pretty wild decos in art books. What do you think about this?
Real wild decos. So yeah, I'm very glad that they're finally seeing the light of day. They can hang out with the likes of Cloud Cover and the Yellow Grimlock as stuff that didn't exist but kind of existed.
Yeah, these really would fit with that Toxitron collection.
Absolutely.
Bright green Swoop. I can't ever tell if it's orange or red Sludge, red and like bright blue, like really garish.
It's some sort of red-orange thing. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, so looking forward to those. It's always great to see a collection get completed over a few years.
Yep.
I'm excited for that. So another thought about that. If you don't get that blue G2 Grimlock, you're going to be bizzle boned.
That's right. And don't forget to get the Selects 2-pack of Slag and Snarl. That'll be out later this year.
Yeah, so just a little warning. This is a very timely one. You're going to want that G2 Grimlock, so better get it. All right, this discussion ended up being a little longer than we expected, so we're going to cut right here at the end of Age of the Primes and bring the Studio Series listings in the next video. Thank you so much for listening. If you really like this, please hit a like, give us a subscribe, check out our website, Collecticon Toys, if you want to see any of the items that we are talking about. Sometimes we put up pre-orders kind of early if you want to get them, but not all the time. Anyways, that's how you can help support us. Just click like or subscribe and leave a comment and tell us why we're wrong or why you agree. Thanks so much, and expect the next part coming out very shortly. Thank you.